Where's the Shechianu? My wife said, don't forget to say Shechianu.
Shechianu for the first Farbrengen. Shekoyach for printing out the copies. For them, it's a great thing to see it. See Oisius Machkimois. As we go through the copies, I mean, we're not going to go through every single copy with Nim because it's just going to take us a very long time. But obviously, I'll give you a digest and an overview of every single Oisius we have here. Right. Okay. So let's just get straight into it. Without any introductions, we'll start with the pasuk and the story and the Chumash and the Rashi and the Meforshim and the Pirush and Rashi. So after the story of the Meraglim and the Yidna complaining, the Eibishter says that the Chala Oisim Karoga Achmon al-Islam will annihilate the Jewish people. So Moshe Rabbeinu davens for the Yidden, and he davens, and he davens. And the Eibishter says, you know what? I'm not going to punish them so harshly. Elamai, they said they don't want to go into Israel, they won't want that Israel. But they'll live till the age of 60, and then afterwards Yidden will enter Israel. The Misper Ayam Meshatarta Masaret Arboim Yem Lashona Tisus Abim Mesechem Arboim Shona V'Yadatim Ani Hashem Devarti Mloi Zois Esa Chola Eida Aroa Zois Anoyed Maloi David Berazei Amol. By the way, careful when you move the chair. Moshe Meshashalach Moshe Loser Es Oretz V'Yeshuv Yinu Alav Es Kol Oeda V'Oitzi Dibar Oretz. And there were the which Moshe sent. They said a Dibar Oretz V'Yamusa Anoshim Etzia Dibar Oretz Ero Magefa Lutnei Hashem. Do me a favor, if you could put yourself on mute. Okay. Sagt Rashi, Yeshuva Bala Yolinu Allah, Kishashov Matura Oretz, Harimu Allah Vespaloida. It says Diba. When they came back from Eretz Yisrael, they got the whole Eidah to complain. And Oisim Anoshim, those people, when they died, Sagt Rashi, Kol it says Diba Loshen Chinuch Dvarim. It's that he's knocking out words. Shemal Ekichim Lashoinam. They were sort of sticking out their tongue. The person to speak about the person. Diba could mean bad. Diba could mean good. Geret and geret and geret. Fananda geret. Diba means the fananda geret. Geret. Spoke. Bad, good, neutral. Spoke. Asach geret. Spoke. Could be bad. It could be good. Okay. The Violet Rashi didn't say anything wrong, right? Dafka the Rashi, where Rashi L'choides didn't say anything wrong, but the Rashi didn't say anything right either. What did Rashi L'chal say here? We'll get to this Rashi in a minute, just to finish off the Indian. Diba, he says in Balaz, what it means in French. Magefa Lifnei Hashem Ba'oisa Mina Haguna Lahem Mida Keneged Mida Hem Chot Baloshim Nishtarv L'Shonim At V'Toilov Yoitzim L'Shonim V'Toiv L'Terch Kaburim. Never Bama Gefa. L'Bima Gefa. V'Zeo Lifnei Hashem Ba'oisa Mitzah Ru'i L'Mashpi Midoisav Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is Mida Keneged Mida. The truth is that Rechaim HaKadosh has a problem with this pasuk. We'll get that in a minute. But let's first start with Rashi. What's the Taka the Pshat? The Meforshim say that the Rashi here, I'm only going to use the first copy. All the other copies I don't need because I have the original. So the Meforshim say that what's the whole nefud in this Rashi? That the Meforshim say that you might think, what was it the pasuk? What's the pasuk saying? What's Vanoshim Shesholach Moshe Loser Es Aretz V'Yeshuva V'Yavinu Olav Es Kol Ha'ida Lo Yitzdibar Aretz? You didn't know that? If you're learning Parshas Shlach Lechem Meraglim and you got all of a sudden towards the end here and you don't know what's happening, my friend, you should start again. Start learning from the first pasuk, Shlach. I mean, isn't the story of the Malachim, of the Shluchim? Anoshim Asher Sholach Moshe. We know Moshe sent them. What don't you know in this pasuk? We know everything. And the emphasis, the Ohr HaChaim Tak is bothered by this. We'll get to Ohr HaChaim in this. It's repetitive. Everything is zibigizah. And the Rashi himself is also repetitive. So the pasuk, Mefarshim say that you might think there was a different story, a different diva, different meraglim. That would be crazy to think that way. Maybe you're going to think that way. So he said, no, don't worry, it's not that way. And what's the raya? Because if it was a new Vayalinu, it should have said, then the pasuk should have said, started with the point. The pasuk should have started, Vayashuvu Anoshim, Vayalinu al Moshe, Vayashuvu Psanan Dezach. Because the pasuk starts, Veho Anoshim Asher Sholach Moshe. We're starting already with what we know. And it's a milza gavurcha, that these are Noshim Shalach Moshe. V'yeshuva v'yalinu agavurcha. I'm reminding you what happened a few psukim earlier. Okay. So the kasha remains. What taka, and this is Bemis is very schwer to say that this is what Rashi is coming to say. First of all, what's taka the pshat? The whole pasuk doesn't make sense. Don't we know already the story of Rashi? And Mechlal, the Loshin Rashi is not adding. Rashi just like changing a few words in the pasuk. He's saying over everything that the pasuk says. It says Ve'yalinu alav. So Rashi says Erimo alav. What is Rashi saying? What zok Rashi? What my commission? What is Rashi coming to tell us? What is Rashi? And what's the pasuk coming to tell us? What's the whole Rashi coming to tell us? Yeshiva ve'yalinu k'sheshav and Torah Oretz Erimo alav is kol ha'ida. It says Diba Oisa Anoshim also it's like repetitive. Oisa Anoshim vayamusu. That's what Rashi is saying. And then this Rashi continues. Kol Eitzos Diba should have been a separate Dibra Mascha. A new thing. Which Mefarshim say, L'choyer is a steer between one pasuk and the other. First pasuk it says, L'hoitzi Diba L'oretz. The second pasuk it says, Diba S'oretz Ra. So why did the first one not say Ra and the second one says Ra? So Rashi comes to answer that Diba could mean L'toiva L'ra. And the next pasuk, Oiz Getayich, that it means L'ra. It's very sure. Usually Rashi has a problem. The shaila is in the second pasuk, not in the first. So Vosh Telt is in the first pasuk. And if it's a kasha, so he should have said separate dibra mascha. It sounds like it's mahemshach to what's going on here. And then again, the whole lashon is so repetitive in Rashi. Rashi says, just read again the words. Probably it says dibra lashachinuk dvarim. Shemalkichim l'shem l'dodam l'davar boi k'boi k'visik yishon. V'yeshne l'teva v'yeshne l'ra. He likes what's going on. So what's that? It's repetitive. Well, the whole thing is repetitive. No, this is that you shouldn't think diva means only negative. Okay. So here, let's go quickly to the beer. Beer is a beer nifla. Beer nifla from the Rebbe. Beer nifla. The Rebbe says like this. There's a few stark kashas. One kashas a son actually asked last week. When we learned last week, you asked one of the three kashas. Three very stark kashas a child asked. First of all, as we're saying the whole time, this whole pasuk is extra. There's not one word in this pasuk that I don't know. That Moshe sent Meraglim, we know that already. That they came back and gave a bad report, we know that already. V'loinu kol ha'eda, we know that already. There's not one word in this pasuk that I don't know from before. So what is the pasuk coming to tell me? Miksha achas, the whole pasuk, nish verstanding. There's not one word in the pasuk that I don't know. I know everything. Number one. Number two. In the entire story, we saying that the Meraglim are complaining against the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Ad motzei le'eda hara azois, asher heim malinin olai. Olai. If you look in the Sicha, it's on page 40 in the second column. Asher heim malinim olai. And on page 41, it says, l'chol le'eda hara azois hanoidim olai. Mitnama on this pasuk it says, v'yeshuv v'yalinu olav. Amoshe. What's going on? the whole time we're saying that the Eibishter says that the Yolinu, the complaint is against me, and now all of a sudden the complaint's against Moshe. Even the Pearl, it says V'Yolinu al Moshe Val Adam. So first of all, it says Moshe Val Adam Mishal. But here all of a sudden only Moshe. I think it is when we're saying that they get punished, right? The punishment, they were talking to Moshe, to Adam, but their complaints was against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They said HaKadosh Baruch Hu Eino Yochel Ha'Hoitzev Kelev Nishlam Chad V'Sholom. They didn't believe in the Eibishter's ability to they should win. So there was a hate against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Naniach, say Lama Zagen that they had two complaints. Once against the Rebbeinu Shalom. How could the Rebbeinu Shalom promise us something that's impossible? And also, how could Moshe have been the messenger? They had some Zagen that 2 times. Lama Zagen. Which is a bigger chutzpah. The Eibishter. So l'chayre, they should get punished for their chutzpah klapei Shmaya. Moshe Rabbeinu meichitays. And anyway, who says the complaint was against Moshe Rabbeinu? Don't shoot the messenger. They were talking to Moshe Rabbeinu, but the Eibishter sells his maid. The Eibishter said, "Malina malai." The complaint is me. They were talking to Moshe and Aaron. But here the pasuk all of a sudden says, "Vayalinu alav, Vayalinu alav, Moshe Rabbeinu." So, the kasha, what's going on? Who is Vayalinu? That l'chayda before. The Torah is telling you now what happened. So you think till now that what was happening was Yalinu a lie against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and all of a sudden now the Torah is telling you a new thing that you should know. It's a chiddush because till now I didn't know this, but b'hagufa, and that's why Rashi quotes when he quotes in the pasuk. He quotes not just the word v'yeshuva. V'yeshuva v'yalinu alav. It's a chiddush. What do you mean v'yalinu alav? It's a linu and the Eibishter. They were talking to Moshe and Aharon. But v'yalinu alav Moshe. That brings us to the third kasha that Sasson asked last week.
No, but I have another question. If they came from Eretz Israel, direct to Moshe and Aaron at Bnei Israel, and they gave a complaint. Hashem wasn't there. A few minutes later, the Psukim said, "Vayinu Allah." After they complained to Moshe and Aaron.
No, but they were complaining about Hashem. They were complaining. How could the Eibishter say he's going to take us to the Holy Land?
The Pasuk doesn't say that. And right away they said, that you send us.
But later the Eibishter says that there's 2 ways to talk to Moshe Rabbeinu. One is that you're talking against Moshe, and one is Moshe is giving over Dvar Hashem, and the Jews are complaining. The Pashtos, they were not complaining to Moshe per se. They were complaining against the Rebbeinu Shalom, that saying that they should go into Eretz Yisrael. They said it's impossible. How are we going to conquer Eretz Yisrael? Here, all of a sudden, the pasuk makes it very clear, Pilu, that the complaint was against Moshe. And the kasha that you asked last week was the Pashta kasha that Moshe Rabbeinu davens for the Yidden with Mesiras Nefesh. The Eibishter says, "Akenu b'deve v'rishenu." That's it. And Moshe Rabbeinu cries, and he says, "Hashem kilarachu," and the Eibishter salachti k'dvarecha. And Taka and Moshe Rabbeinu's tefillah helps that they were not going to die. Elamai, each one is going to live at least to be 60 years old. Okay. Everyone likes to live beyond, but the Eibishter said, "B'chnon l'tzlan, achenu b'devet, achenu b'devet." Moshe gedaven. They lived a good couple of years. Everyone lived up to the age of 60. They lived a good life, and the Meraglim die immediately. The Meraglim die right away. Right away, the Meraglim died. Emes Taki yesterday, Bashala Shudas, itself, the 2, and they died. Maybe Zion El or Jude Zion El, a story how the Rosh understood, and how the Beis Yosef understood, and how the Bach understood. Yonis and Ben Uziel in the Targum, the Tana says it was in Pshat, which the Rosh reads the Pshat. Was, I can't finish the result. Now is the bedtime. So what's the big deal? Why can't in Pshuta Shel Mikra everyone gets saved from the Tula Moshe Rabbeinu besides the Meraglim? Pshuta Shel Mikra, they died that day because Because if you look in the Chumash here, we said, and the next pasuk is and then if you just read Pshukim Kipshute, like the Rosh read it, is that on Tisha B'Av they complained, on Tisha B'Av there was exiled against them, and on Tisha B'Av the Meraglim died, and the next morning there was a few Yidden that said, let's go, Hinenu Valinu, and then the Eibush said, no. Hidlo Titzlach, and they did go, and they got hurt. Okay. So the kasha that someone asked last week, why is it that Moshe, his tefillah, or it didn't work for the Meraglim? How come the Meraglim died right away? Not only with a gruesome death, but they died instantaneously, right away. The Eibush said he was going to kill all the Yidden, the tongue and the whole thing. So by the Yidden, it helped tefillah Moshe. For them, it didn't help tefillah Moshe. This is what the pasuk is coming to answer. That's why there's two psukim. One pasuk is coming to say, why did they die? Because they spoke against the Eibishter, there was a tongue, and because the tongue, for the tongue to there's a whole thing. Why did they die? Because they said dibas ha'aretz ra. That's why they died. But the other pasuk is a different thing. Why didn't Tfilas Moshe Rabbeinu help for the Meraglim? It helped for Klal Yisrael. He definitely davened for everyone. He davened also for the Meraglim. Why did it not help for the Meraglim? So the Oyer HaChaim HaKodesh has the whole pshat, but he doesn't explain why the Meraglim per se. His pshat is 5 things, and in the diuk in the pasuk, it's not pshat. If we have a chance, we'll read some of the Oyer HaChaim. He reads every word of the pasuk, and he says there's 5 types of sins that the Eibishter punishes right away, and the Meraglim had all 5 put together. But first of all, it's not pshat. It's not pshat. We'll soon see the Oyer HaChaim.
Israel, see Hashem punished them right away.
Like we spoke, on the other hand, we spoke the opposite yesterday in the Tanya. That even the Alter Rebbe says not the way it's pshat. The Alter Rebbe says that really no miracle happened, and yet they right away started believing. So, okay. You're asking a good question. Anyway, so what is the Rashi's Teretz? Rashi's Teretz is simple. Rashi's Teretz, if you look in the copies, we're on page 42. Rashi is saying, "V'lachem bois v'akosov kagdam v'lamasher kosov yamusu ma'nosh ma'shashalach Moshe v'yalim." All of it's called the Hainu Shem Miskavno Lach v'kal Moshe Atz Chen Lo Yoel Moshe b'tfilos elifel ba'adam u'kakval shekvar kos v'rashi lifel zein kateger nasas sameger v'gan dodem lo'adam mida kenegen mida. The Rashi, this whole pasuk is there's 2 psukim. One pasuk is coming to say, why did they get punished? Why did they get punished? They got punished. My Yemusu and pasuk lamed zayin. My Musa anoshim moitze dibas order ra, as they said diba ra amagay for lifneshim. These anoshim, why did they die? Is a separate shaila here. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu's tefillah not help? The answer is because besides having complaint against the Eibishter, the pasuk is machadish anything that you might not know. Because the Pashtus in the whole story, it was that they complained against the Eibishter. The Eibishter said they're going to take that time. In Koirach, we see right away, he's pointing a finger to Moshe Rabbeinu, against Moshe. Koirach right away is against Moshe. But the Meraglim, you don't know, but the Eibishter tells you, the Pasuk tells you, V'anoshim ha'shasholach Moshe loser etz'oretz, v'yashuvu v'yolinu olav al Moshe. That's what Rashi says. Rashi changes the word against Moshe. Therefore, this is I read inside the Sicha. Allah had imu Allah as kol eidu betzos dibra. Oisum anoshim ve'yamusa and shekol hakosav bol hagid sherak anoshim ha'elu are imu Allah. Lachem heim shemeitzet tekem miyad ka'aburim lo yoyel tfilas Moshe. Like we say in the Mishnah, Lagabe, the Kohen Gadol, the gold which is used for the Egel Azov can be used for the God of the Kohen going into Lefnai Lefnim. That's why I asked the wheel, big day Lavan. That's what the Mishnah says. The Asher Bnei Yisrael Linu Al Moshe, even though the Yidden also complained, but Shkotza be alone Al Moshe, called Bnei Yisrael. And Eloinu Skavna was a lachlak Al Moshe Atzma. רק שחוששו שמביאים לימפול בחרב. מה שאין כאן המרגלים שנזכרנו להחניק על מוישה. They, and looking at order 29 star, there is a gamke machlokes koirach vados call a koirach related. The reason I'm emphasizing this order is because I'll talk about it soon in Avodas Hashem. There's this common thing between them, according to this pasuk, that the Yidden had, they were never, they fell through a soyan of Amunah, and they didn't, and in a weak moment they had Sveikas and Amunah. But the Meraglim had a thing against Moshe, just like Koirach. Again, Koirach was throwing sand in people's eyes, but really we know from the Chazal that he was Niskana b'nisiyusa shalilitzafa. He was jealous of Moshe. It wasn't about this, the police, the brutality, the dust. I'm just giving a cheap example. But, some of these organizations, they have their motivation. They have their agenda, nothing to do with George Floyd, nothing to do with Garner. They have their agendas. Don't mix them up with facts. They have their agenda. Koirach had an agenda. He had a kina against Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Torah is telling you that the Meraglim were the same thing. The Meraglim were Vayalinu Olav. That's the chidush of the pasuk, and that's the chidush that Rashi is saying. That Vayalinu Olav. Al pi anal yuvim betuv tam hemshech beis aksuvim v'gam lo makoifel b'pasuk hasheni moitzi diber haaretz hara afshe b'pasuk harishin kosov kvar loitz diber haaretz. B'pasuk harishin loy ayri b'siba shegorma misas hameraglim kim loma loy ho'ila tfilas Moshe ma shekosov loitz diber haaretz haine rak siber hametzias efshe v'yalinu al yidei di oitzi al diber haaretz hemshech leze b'pasuk hasheni b'boy mefarish v'yemusa noshim mevar ma'ise siba shegorma lo misas moitzi diber haaretz hara. The kana kavona shabazei snag b'la kodesh baruch hu kanal achet snag b'la kodesh baruch chomer yoisem snag b'la Moshe lachen kois le'oda pam b'pasuk habeis. So there's two psukim. One is talking the siba why they died. There's the second pasuk lamazayim v'yemusa nashim moitzi diber haaretz hara because they said the ra against the haaretz, and therefore they got bama gave for lifnei Hashem bama gave that's the yukim mida keneged mida that the tongues came out v'chulu v'chulu. The first pasuk says "Lohitzi diba la'aretz," not diba ra. Why? Because over here is not negeya ra toiva. That's what Rashi wants to emphasize. That's why it's not a separate. Rashi is not coming to say the technical thing or the word diba. Rashi wants to and it's not also not coming to answer the skita. Why in the first pasuk it says diba la'aretz, in the next pasuk it says diba la'aretz ra. Memela that for the kasha. Memela. But Rashi was bothered with the kashi, he would wait to the second pasuk. He'd make it a separate different mask. He just wants to explain if it's vayeloin or lovas kolaida, what's negeya diba la'aretz. So the Rashi is saying enochinami. We're not talking about diba ra ala haaretz. They were talking things against Moshe. If it had been latoiva, would also. Sometimes you'd say, like Chazal say, in the Hilchas Lashon Hara, the Gemara brings it in Erchin, after Zvov, the Zion, steht sich the Mishnah Brura and the Sefer Shmiras Lashon that sometimes you're saying something positive about a person, but he means the opposite. He's saying a big compliment. He's saying a big compliment in front of his enemies. So he's wanted because he's oh yeah, a lot of things that are that way. Doesn't matter. The pasuk is not coming in because the chait wasn't this. When Vayamusa Noshim, dibas haaretz ra b'magefa. It was because they said dibas haaretz ra, and that's keneged HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Here the inyan was Vayalinu Alav Kol Ha'eda. What was it? Incidentally, it was Lohoitzi diba la'aretz. It's called Giken Zayin diba l'toy va'oichet. The point was that they went against Moshe Rabbeinu through a diba. They spoke bad, but it happened to be. But that's a side point. That's why the pasuk in the second pasuk, when we want to say what did they Aveda Klapi Shmaya was, because they said Ra. The Avisha said it's Aretz Toiva, and we can conquer it, and they said it's Aretz Ra. But the Yolinu al Kolaid, the Loitz Diba Aretz, it can't zayin a Diba Toiva Oichet. That's the point. It's nicht negay if it was dibur. That's when the first pasuk, the Torah doesn't say if the dibur was toiva or not. It's nicht negay if it's toiva or not. What's negay is why did Tfilas Moshe not help? Tfilas Moshe didn't help because part of their strategy was to go against Moshe Rabbeinu through a dibur. They were using dibur al-aretz to go against Moshe Rabbeinu. Kilo Moshe Badoi. Moshe is leading us astray. Nitna Rosh v'lashuva Mitzrayma. Moshe's leadership is bad. They were using this thing to go against Moshe. But that's why we understand now what there's two psukim and two lashonis. Yemus anoshim b'magefes because they said dibur al-aretz tzara. That's why they died. Why did Tfilas Moshe not help to save them when it saved all Klal Yisrael? Because that was a different thing. Enkatega nasas aneges. The pasuk tells you because vayolinu alav al Moshe Rabbeinu. That's kol ha'eda. Lo hitzi dibur al-aretz. It was against Moshe Rabbeinu. Therefore, it was enkatega nasas aneges. I just loaded the pshat in the pasuk and Einlein and das Nashi. There's a Chassam Sofer. Okay, so before, there's a few copies. We're going to get to everything that the kids said, minutes, and everything that I have here in the copies. This coming Sunday, I want to bring up a story about that to do with Hagoyim, a story with the Chassam Sofer. There's a Sefer the Chassam Sofer wrote, Sefer HaZikaron, a storybook. We thought the Chassam Sofer only wrote Shalos HaTshuvos and Rosh Hashanah. He wrote a novel too. I'm stretching it a little. His kavana wasn't to buy to sell it in Barnes and Noble. It was when Napoleon came. It was sweeping through Europe, and he came against the city of Pressburg, which was part of Austria. He was then just started being the Rav. He was then the Rav in Pressburg. Maybe he was the Rav in Mattersdorf. And he was very young. It was a town of Nosnago, He was very young at that time, and it was Betchilas and Siyusui. He was 40 years, maybe. It was many years. And there was against the city of Pressburg, there were cannons flying. And he writes a whole Sefer Zikaron. How every house was damaged. The whole nest, and only the shul and the Besmedlish, and the whole city that weren't. And all the Eden, there was a bomb that fell, and the Eden were davening, and it landed next to the door. I'll talk about it Sunday, Mitzvah Shem. It has to do with Hagoyim, the Shiloh of Hagoyim. They made all together Hagoyim. But what I want to bring out is in the Sefer Zikaron, he says, so it's a long story. And last night, sitting reading through the whole thing, so just pieces here, pieces there. But apparently, I don't know if that was but they also ran out of the city. There was one Yid that Nebuch got hurt and he died. But the Chassam Sofer is Merames that this Yid Nebuch had a problem. What was the problem? He massed to the government against the Chassam Sofer. Years earlier, he massed on the government against the Chassam Sofer. Right, even though he did tshuva, and definitely the Eibush Kilo. Some Sefer Kilo understood what happened. Definitely the Chassam Sofer is not writing it. Chas v'shalom, chas v'chalila. The grandize himself. Some Sefer just saw it the way it is. It's amazing Sefer to read, and I want to share it to Mitzvah more Sunday because you see how we want to see how Gedolei Yisrael look at the situation. COVID, 2 months. How Gedolei Yisrael who lived through a situation of several months of agony and being displaced, and Parnassa, he describes how everyone in Pressburg lost their Parnassa. But in a short time, they get it back, and it's Yahweh Kodesh Baruch Hu, and he had dreams already a few months before, and therefore he was giving droshes 30 years tshuva. I'm reading it for you, Mitzvah Shem Sunday. I'll go through a little more, but brought on it. But I just said that the reason why it's so beautiful is because to see how the Gedolei Yisrael. So like we're sitting now here, and it's hopefully the tail end of this whole thing. There's no second wave, no third wave, chas v'chalila, but everything is, he brings the Mamari Chazal and the Droshes and everything that David does in the world is for you. And then you'd have to be Messiah B'tshuva, It's unbelievable. See everything Yad Hashem in Pashtus. So, but this thing, the Chassam Sofer makes no things about it. Yeah, that this person was against. So, in other words, the Chassam Sofer, because Chassam Sofer's the doctor, his name was Moshe. And I once met a Hungarian and told me, yeah, this Fadim's name is Moshe is Rabbeinu Moshe Asfardi, B'mayim Asfardi. But us, he says the Hungarians read it, Moshe the Moshe Sofer, the Moshe Schreiber, the Sofer. Okay, I'm not going to argue with him. So, saying that some Sofer.
His last name Sofer?
His last name was Schreiber. And Schreiber means a Sofer.
Uh-huh.
So, it was one of the most brilliant, sometimes Gedolei Yisrael had certain, but this is, I think, from all Gedolei Yisrael, one of the most brilliant. So he's called his Sefer Chassam Sofer, and his son called it Ksav Sofer, Shavitz. It's still going on. It's the wheel is still moving. It's unbelievable. So he was one of the Gedolei Olam. He was, Chazal say, every generation has some. And like it, the person that only Machaper is in Shemayim, but also in the also, if that kapara is absolute, but does it wipe away the chait completely or not? So the Shlomo waited when it was the stalkers of that posek that holds that wipes away, that leads to the Zov, it wipes away the chait kilogamri. If you ask him to give the money right away, he could have given you a bracha. So he says, I never was mavaz any tamachochem. There was some guy in a little town, Adul Shvetel, Sicha Ber in Lubavitch. I once insulted him terribly, but that was my Rebbe. That's why I couldn't help you. My Rebbe, and I couldn't be moichel for his covenant. That's why I sent you to Reb Shlomo. He wasn't his Rebbe, so he could be moichel for his covenant. He waited for Shasa Kosher. He didn't use out Shasa Kosher. So there is an Indian that that's the answer. That there is an Indian that Moshe Rabbeinu is being mispalal, but it helps for Klal Yisrael, and they're living a good life. They live another 40 years. They have the man, they have Eresh Miriam, b'chulu b'chulu. So the shaila is why the Meraglim doesn't help for them. So that's what the pasuk is answering. The pasuk is saying, "Va'anoshim asher shalach Moshe losa nesa'oretz va'yashuvu va'yalinu olav." And the dib is nishnageh, dib toiva, dib ra. That's nishnageh. But they had a plan to go against Moshe, and therefore they died for a different reason. They died because dib sa'oretz tzarav makei for lifnei Hashem. But tefillas Moshe didn't help for them because ain't kategen nasa sanegen. So let's go to this Hira that the Rebbe has from the Sicha. Unbelievable. Look in page 44. The Hira that the Rebbe has from the Sicha. Isa b'tikun Zoyar is pashtus of the Moshe b'chol dora v'dora, that there is a pashtus of Moshe in every generation. Amar Azal ein dor shem b'kemoshe. Moving Shekemoshe Moshe Rabbeinu Mispal about Kol Avechem Bnei Yisrael, B'doig of Kol Avechot, Ad Shekadosh Baruch Hu Bochen of Zabi Yisrael is Tzayin. Kachel B'Spashtus of the Moshe B'chol Dersh, Doyagim Mispal Lim Avur Kol Avechem Bnei Yisrael Sheb'doig. The union of the Moshe in every generation is that they are concerned and they daven for every Yid in their generation. We're looking at the Mashal Order 39. Lahir Memayim Razal Kol Sheyesh Lechayla B'Techmei Yelech Etzel Chochem. Bevaka Shalavachim Rei Tainis, Tafches, in Lisa Dosh Shema Mashkinim, Tinachoshes Meldav Tal, Mota, Yelachet of Chosid Shabadar. So there is the union of Moshe that davens for every Yid. Afshabavad, the Yesh Nakam, Makama Shechilam, Muspal, Bats, and Tfilah Shlem, Adra, Bakolach Avechad. There's mitzvahs the same in Atoida, the Sheispal Kalatzmai. The Komokam Gam him Skukim, Latfilas Moshe Shabadar, and Batam, Roshi Alpha Yisrael, Hem Chinas. Rosh Moyach, Lachem Movement, Kamosh, Bagash, Meshish, Fason, and the cave back at Baby Agu. Nirgish, Berosh Moyach, Baka, Kena Baruch, the Shat, Fila, Abura, Koim, Shlem, the Bnei Yisrael, Achor, Barim Shlem, Idea, Moyach, Berosh, Moshe Shabador. Before I go further to the Oidzos, the Rebbe's Matzayim in the order 43, the Chuvas Chassam Sofer, Chelik Oirachaim, Simen Kuf Samachmod. And the Chassam Sofer says, I don't have it in the copies, I'm sorry. The Chassam Sofer says, it's a beautiful tshuva, short and sweet. But then in the Kuda was, why does it make sense for a tzaddik to be mispal for another yid? So he says,
it's because the hand will not be mispal. The head will be mispal for the hand. It's nicht kein chesarim that the head should be mispal. Adarabah, the head feels the ke'ev of the hand. So because every yid, Chazal say in the Masechet Bracha that every yid should feel the tzar of another yid, but the tzaddikim shebedoit, the emes feel the tzar of every yid because they're the moyach. So therefore, it makes sense that they should be mispal before Klal Yisrael. So that's the nakuda that the Rebbe is saying. Okay, the tefillah that every yid does connects to the Eibishter through the motion, because the Indian of Moshe is to connect the yid, that the yid should feel his connection to the Eibishter. Not chas v'shalom like goyim see. They're Nevi'im, which is the opposite. We see that Moshe, like the Torah says, is a noicha emed ben Hashem and benechem to connect lahagid lachem d'var Hashem. So this is the lesson that we learn from Moshe Rabbeinu, that the Moshe Rabbeinu was mispal, and the Taka lived for a good many years. For a good many years. If you think about this, the Gemara Taka says in Baba Basra, that the Gemara says in Daf Ayin Gimel, that Rabbi Yochanan was traveling, and there was a Taya, there was an Arabi that told him, I'll show you the Mesa Midbar. Whole story that they were sprawled out, as like they're taking sometimes, and he was sitting, like one of these guys was sitting, and his knee was up, as he was relaxing, he was chillaxing, with the Kinderzagen, and his face was red, like a person who's drinking wine. So Chassidus says that Rebbe's father has a whole shtickle Torah on this, like a Shui Yayin Nichnas L'Mikdash. They had the mile of Nodav Avihu, that they're like drunk. They're like drunk. So it's in the same Gemara. In the same Gemara, it says that he asked him, do you want to see Koirach and his guys? He said, yeah, why not? We're already on the tour. Cost any extra? He said, no, it's all in the price. Okay, fine. Okay. So he says, here, it says that you see there is smoke coming out. He took a roimach, he put some cotton, he put it down, and it came out choruch. And Rabbi Yochanan put his ear down, and he heard them screaming, Moshe emes v'terosa emes v'onu badoin. Right. V'onu badoin, they said. So it's interesting, just if you look in the Gemara, just read one after the other without any meforshim. So Koidach, who goes against Moshe Rabbeinu, Koidach Vadosoi, they're in Gehenim. They're Gehenim. And these guys are taking suntans. Because their hate was not, they didn't go against Moshe. They didn't go against Moshe. They didn't trust that the Eibusher could take them into Eretz Yisrael, and it was a terrible hate. And this was Bechir L'Doidus, and that's why we cry every Tisha B'Av. But L'Poel, Moshe davened for them. And therefore they lived a good life till 60, and they had food, and they had water, and they had free cleaner services that they covered this Magats, their begodim, them Galet and Torah, but Moshe Rabbeinu on Kanadagas, they lived a good life. Maybe a short life, but they lived a good life. But for the Meraglim, there's golf. Right. Well, they did tshuva, yeah. He davened for a koirach too. He davened for the meraglim too. It's just the pasuk is telling you why it didn't help his tefillah. He davened. Moshe doesn't have a personal grudge against them. Moshe davened for them, but it didn't help. It didn't help. So. If you're looking at the copies, there is a book that the Kfar Chabad magazine gave out. Very nice, parshas, stories from the Rebbe on parshas. Not always stories. Vertlach. You look after the Sicha, right after the Sicha. I have a copy of it. Sometimes nice. Yeah, it's good. So next week, you have for Koirach. He has a very nice story, which I'm not sure. I'm not sure which part. So he says that when the Rebbe spoke to Sicha, by the way, there's a very interesting thing that the Rebbe said in that Sicha. that year, those few years, every few years the Rebbe had a campaign. It would, in general things, the Rebbe always, but then every few years the Rebbe had a different campaign. Those years the Rebbe was very into the, Mi Yehudi. The Rebbe was very upset that it's all they were making fictitious gatas and allowing that they should be registered as Yidden. The Rebbe said that this is a terrible Zabachia. The Rebbe called it a Bachia L'Doris. That and the agreement with the Arabs, land for peace. Land for peace, the Rebbe said, is a Sakona Pakal Yisrael. And for the Gufim Pakal Yisrael, from the Shabbos Pakal Yisrael, is this thing that the Abdullah ben Yisrael Amim is an unbelievable thing that Rahman al-Islam that Eden should ever try to break. Kitzer, it was an ongoing thing, and Kedarker Bakodesh and the Rebbe didn't care. It was Bashmutz. The Rebbe was very, very much Bashmutz over it. But Kedarker, people. If there was the Rebbe's project, so the Rebbe said Yalav Yov, is Lo Yalav Yov, Lo Yov, but the Rebbe didn't care. The Rebbe kept on talking about it. That week there was some advice to us at Rosh Yeshiva and Eretz Yisrael that threatened that the Rebbe is not going to continue. I think this wasn't a yeshiva Rosh Yeshiva, because it was really there was the Israeli party Mafdal that was then that the Rebbe was very upset at them. They were the swing votes in the government that allowed this thing not to be fixed, the Mi Yehudi. But anyway, I don't know. I wasn't around Tov Shel Lamed Beis. I wasn't born yet. I was born Lamed Gimel. So I don't remember the surrounding of the Sicha, but I have a feeling just from reading the Sicha that this was that this was sort of a Akiva, maybe Rosh Yeshiva, someone. But that's a Tamakach. Said if the Rebbe is not going to stop talking about the Mi Yehudi. So he's going to write a sefer to Abschlagen the Rebbe's Mahalach in Rashi al Torah. Everyone in the 70s started laughing when the Rebbe said it. Everyone started laughing. It was like rolling laughter. And the Rebbe said, "Ich habe gemeint Salatzonas." Aber später habe ich gesehen that he started publishing articles against the Rebbe. So here's the words that the Rebbe said. I just want to read it for you because I think it's just beautiful. I have it in the Yiddish. I sent it to you. The Rebbe said, "I feel like my Piddish is nicht as a glattik. Sag nicht kein Chesorum. Da war da Shakle Natalia and Piddish Rashi." The Rebbe said, "L'chol ha'pochas I have a revach with this Rosh Yeshiva. In order to upschlag my beard, he's going to have to look in Rashi. 50 years he didn't open a Rashi. This is for little kids. So I gained something that finally he's learning Rashi." It's unbelievable. Today they're not only they're long gone, but even their successors are now Nebuch, Geinois. It's an unbelievable thing. It's unbelievable. But this was the one thing Achilles' heels. The Rebbe wanted that they should, and they had to swing both, and they refused. Shaki defected. I know he wasn't the head of Matam. Shaki was not the head of him. He defected. They were upset at him. Shaki was not the head of Matam. So there's no shaila. So I got sidetracked. In the story, I made a copy over here. So Arendov Alperin says that when they prepared this Sicha, the Rebbe erased, and the Rebbe said, "Yisoref hanayer v'lo yo'omer." Yeah. So I mean, it's not the whole Sicha, because if you see the Hiron Avodah, the Sicha is very mild compared to. I made a copy in the Yiddish what the Rebbe really said. When it was printed, it was like all watered down to that what. But the Rebbe said, "Yisoref hanayer v'lo yo'omer" pashtus, because the Rebbe said it because he said it, but the Rebbe didn't want that it should be printed in his name, such a thing. So again, in Pirush Rashi, the Rebbe said the pshat, Rashi is Rashi. But then the Rebbe went on to speaking about what it is, and about other things that we'll talk about. So the Rebbe didn't want that should be printed, maybe. Okay. what was the other things that the Rebbe spoke about? So there's two nekudas. Before I get to that, I just want to mention in the beginning, about a year ago, there was a video going around. I don't remember the details. It was someone in Bnei Brak, Choshev from the Choshev Yid, has a little chassidus, and he told a story about a young man in Bnei Brak that never didn't have children for many years. The kids he had a psacholim with the Rebbe, and he came to New York to his family. He was never in those days. One of the campaigns that Rebbe had, the Kemach Tasach L'Tzonos, he was very involved against the Rebbe personally. Didn't have children for many years. He had a dream. It was happened a year ago, and he came to New York and Tibet Mechila, and his wife became pregnant right afterwards. Okay, so this is the pshat. This is the pshat in the pasuk. It's a beautiful pshat. That there's two things. There is the chait that they did, which was dibas haaretz ra, and then there is why Tfilas Moshe didn't help for them, and that was because vayalinu alav Moshe Rabbeinu personally, and that was the problem of Koirach and also the problem of the Meraglim itself. Two things: a lesson that we learn from Koirach, a lesson we learn from the Meraglim. There's a yid that comes here from his man Lazman. Every time he marches in here, he says the same thing. I'm not going to say Lashon Hara. He says it over here. They call Am ve'eda. Not Lashon Hara b'chlal. And he says it every time with a grace l'shmeichel. The Rebbeinu Shalom is my Rebbe. I don't need a Rebbe, he says. The Rebbeinu Shalom is my Rebbe. But Koirach said the whole thing, the same thing. Koirach said, why do we need a Rebbe? Koirach hat doch gesagt, das selbe Sache. The emes is like this. The emes is that Takazak, a person could say, there were tzaddikim, and we know that the Rebbe Rashab writes that kol achim machabrim ada taz v'ashach osa chibureim baruch hakodesh. Not stam. They didn't have Rebbes. They weren't Rebbes and Chassidim. But and b'chlal, Eloich Hashem Elokecha, the Eibishter speaks to every Yid. B'chol kareinu Eilav v'layla medoisa. We talk to the Eibishter. Huh? The truth is, it's not true also. Chazal already have, like we said here, it's not true. Not true. We have it already in Chazal, so many things. But the emes is that depends. Like the Rebbe, if a person thinks that he can daven for himself, and he doesn't need any guidance for himself, so Gesundheit. But Mizmar Baal Shem Tov, we see that Reiv Kal Yisrael are dafke thriving more in Avodas Hashem, dafke through having a Rebbe. So that's to the complaint of Koirach and to the complaint of Meraglim. So the Rashi says that there's not Nagea Diba Toiva Diba Ra. Could have been even Diba Toiva. What does that mean? What's the time over here? I mentioned it the other day in the Shir. The Rebbe says a beautiful part. He says it's a Musa Sfarim, but I don't know where in Musa Sfarim it is. But okay. The Rebbe says it in the name of Musa Sfarim. That Haman said, Yasu Eid Kavoya Chamishim Amma. Why Chamishim Amma? So I told you there's a joke, a yeshivish joke, that Machikim Masanavelim Neir Chamishim Amma. Eventually he's going to be hanging. Okay. There is Mefarshim that have a whole cheshbon, that eventually him and his 10 sons are going to hanging, so there has to be 3 Amma, sorry, a person, a half Amma in between. The whole cheshbon, why we need 50 Amma. The end was for him and his sons, so we need enough room for everyone to hang. So, okay. But he didn't know that. What's the Pshat Chamishim Amma? So the Musa Sfarim say that Chamishim Amma is very far, like Machikim es Hashoivach men Hashoivach. B'chalam Toida, Oilam means 50. 50 years is Oilam. Loilam behem tavoid means 50 years. So 50 Amas is very far. So like this. Come to Mordechai Yehudi and he says, hey, let's learn with the kids. What should we learn now? Hilchas Oimed. Chazal say he was learning Hilchas Oimed. So what can you say? You say, you know what? Mordechai Tzaddik is a Chamudidik Tzaddik. Let's talk Diba Toiva. Sometimes Lashon Hara works the other way around. Not like Koirach. Koirach says, you should have been with Badoi. No. I forget, the trick goes the other way around with the Meraglim. Maybe it's Diva Toiva. Haman says like this. It's Yasu Eid Gavoya Chamish Mama. Let's make a pedestal. 50 Amma. Moshe Rabbeinu was very far. Pnimius HaTorah is very deep. It's a very tifa Zachen. Very tifa Zachen. The joke that I once mentioned. They say about the Briskerov. I don't know if it's true, but they say that they told them that Yisrael Salanta said that it's easier to learn the whole Shas than changing one of your midas. So he said, "Mival oned mit the geringe." We'll start with the easy stuff. We'll start with the easy stuff. To learn the ganz Shas. What I'm trying to bring out is that there's such a thing of Yasu Eid Gavoya Chamishimama. That Haman says Mordechai Tzaddik is on a pedestal. Chamishimama. Mordechai Tzaddik. Ay ay ay. But what he's trying to bring out is the opposite. He's trying to bring out the opposite. What do you have to do with this guy? Was sitzt mit der Tzaddik? The Tzaddik is Gavoya Chamishimama. Now you're going to tell me you're going to connect to the Tzaddik. You're going to learn from the Midas Tovas of this Tzaddik. Hakachainik. He said, Gavoya Chamishimama. That's the time of Haman. Mordechai Yehudi, yeah, his head, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's now in Hilchas Oimer. The whole Yidden are in danger. He's Hilchas Oimer. He's a malach in Himmel. But the really, the Itzah Diba could be Latoiva. But really, the Kavona is Leroa. It's a part of that Lashon Hara, which is the opposite. He speaks Latoiva, but he means Leroa. What the Yetzer Hara has this the thing. Sometimes he goes with the Koirach. Then there is the opposite. What is he trying to bring out?
That's great.
Who you're going to learn from his Midas Tovas, you're going to learn from his Torah, you're going to learn from his Mahalach and Avodas Hashem, you're going to connect to him. What do you have with him? What do you have with him? What's the shaykhs that you have with him? You have no shaykhs with him. But the Sinesh Emes. The Sinesh Emes. Every Yid, because that's the connection of Tzaddikim and the Bnei Dorim. I was telling my brother this, the younger brother. It's unbelievable. I loved my younger brother. I used to take good care of him. Now we learn Chavos every day. This cute kid. No, younger. He was the baby in the family. I loved him. I loved him. I used to take good care of him. So after davening, I used to take him at back of 7 when the Rebbe walked out, so he should see the Rebbe. Why not? And the davening, it was Lebedik. So I used to grab Michi, I used to schlep him over, and I used to put him right in front of me, and so he was a little kid, and I don't know what, he was a faprach, and the Rebbe walks by, and he grabs onto the Rebbe's gartel, and he starts walking. Someone gave him a good push, but the Rebbe turned around and gave him such a smile. It was like, the Rebbe wasn't fazed. Whatever, kid is walking with him. Isn't that It's Shabbos. I think it was a Yom Tov, actually. It was a Yom Tov, I think. It was Yom Tov. So, Haman, that's the time of Haman. Haman doesn't want that we should hold on to the gartel of a tzaddik. Says that we're very far away. Tzaddik is very far away, and we're very far away. And that is a taina that we have to crush. That's a taina that we have to make sure that it's neshamas. Just like by Moshe Rabbeinu, that the Tanchuma says, that the Eibusha said that the real reason why Moshe Rabbeinu has to stay in the desert is not for them as a chait. Tanchuma says that the reason is the Eibusha said that I want you the tia betzidin v'tova imon. It's a Tanchuma chukas. That I want you to be, these are your people, I want you to be with your people, and Mashiach Tzidkenu will come, you'll come with your people. I don't want your people will say that you deserted your Shepselach. So we have to know that the same thing with every Moshe Rabbeinu. There's also a thing of saying that he's nostalgic and he doesn't care about the Neidoiro, Fakert. Again, there's a kind of Koirach and a kind of Meraglim. Koirach says, the Rebbeinu Shalom is my Rebbe. And the Meraglim says, ooh, he's a very big Rebbe. But the bottom line is from both tainas is coming out the same, not good. So I sent you another few copies here. Sipurim Neiron. It's a beautiful sefer. He was a Yid at Gelernt of Volozhin. The kid said that then he became a chassid of the Alter Rebbe and the Mittler Rebbe and Tzemach Tzedek. He was very close to Reb Chaim, and then he became a chassid. So he writes stories that he saw himself, experienced himself, and also the stories that he heard. So 2 stories about the Mittler. He tells about a half a dozen stories about the Mittler Rebbe, about L'Achiris Falkusei. So 2 stories that I think are beautiful. One is he says that he had a chaver. He says he has a chaver. You have it in your copies. If you look later, you can see in it. He says he has a chaver, and the chaver was going to Niezhin Lischa Shoma Titel. Lischa Shoma Titel. He had a tobacco business. So the friend said, "I'm going to Niezhin to do business." I mean, today, if you go to Niezhin, it's a hole in the wall. But I guess, the Niezhin was a place to do business. So he says, "Afshu einim akurovim ladas achsidim rakshu ma'oyevai hanemonim koydem nesiyosa ba'etzla kederach oyevim nemonim amarti lo yedidi afshu einim das achsidim afu became bikashti shebeisa yoysa b'Niezhin yatzriach malosa l'shtateach al keber atzadik." Okay. Umemalosa eida kol dover sherish v'ftich l'shken yasa. Kitzer. Tells a story like this, that his friend came back a half a year later. His friend said, and on the way he had a bad feeling, very, very bad feeling. He had a very, very bad feeling. But what's going to done? There's no instant messaging. He had a bad feeling about his family, his wife. When he came to Niezhin, he did what his friend told him. It's cold. He got a very warm thing, a coat. And he went to the Tzion HaKodesh, and all of a sudden he felt a pachad noida. He wrote 2 notes, one for himself and one for his wife. Special note asking a bracha for his wife. And then he said the Tehillim and the Maimer Azoyer, the Teriz, like the Maimer Nalosh and the Maviyabik, whatever, the Svarim HaKadoshim that have the Shtiklach Zoyer that you say, Shtiklach Tehillim you say. And then he read the 2 notes and he put it down. All of a sudden he felt an unbelievable tranquility. And then he went home, and then when he came home, he found out that when he was away, his wife was terribly sick. And there was one night that she was so critical that the doctors already said that she's not going to make it to the morning. By Hiba Boiker, all of a sudden she opened her eyes and she was good. And he found out that was the Duke in the day and in the hour that he was at the Tzion HaKodesh in Niezhin. One story. Second story is a story from Reb Nochem, the son of the Mittler Rebbe, who lived in Niezhin. He said a story of a Psagvir. Again, you'll read the story, the Befrotus was a Misnagid, and every story, the Gvir is a Misnagid, the Chassid is the Kaps, the Dalton. So and the Gvir had a daughter that was very sick. The wife said, "We're going to go to the Tzion HaKodesh in Niezhin," and he said, "B'shum oifen nicht." But when Mamish was Rigia Ma'amad Nofesh, so she sent. There was a malamed teaching their children in the house. She sent the malamed with the goy that they should go give tzedakah. And they should buy candles. They should need candles over there. They should in the Mokum HaKodesh, and they should write notes, a kvittel. And when they got there, the baby all of a sudden was miraculous. The baby all of a sudden turned the corner, and it was a pella that she started to heal. And the father was very happy, and he said to his wife, "You see, I told you there's no point going to Niezhin, there's no point sending. You see, had you gone to Niezhin, you would have told me a miracle from my Rebbe." So she said, "This is the miracle. Not if I would tell you, I'm going to tell you." So he got very angry. He said, "It's not true." So she called him a lamed. So he said, "No, the lamed is lying too." So she called the goy. So he said, "What?" He couldn't believe it. But the guy just told him, yeah, that we drove and we went. He saw that it was true, so he said, whatever, I'm not going to finish the story. But anyway, we see, so what I wanted to add, this is a beautiful line. Look at the second page in the story. It's quoting that on page Lamates, the first column. So, no, look in the top line. שהתחיל לעזור ליסונה ואומר לו היום נזכר גם כן שהוא היום אשר אוהב באוהל מנוחס כבוד קדושת מיטל הנם. שלום מהם עם זכרם הם השעה ואמרו כולם שהתחילו שעה סידס. ונזכרו גם כן שזה היום והשעה מקום ממש הרגע שהניח הפדיונס למנוחס כבוד קדושת. ששם כל זה יוצא ממש נפש לדברים ולא הפשט אז בגודל ורוצים הירס עוצם לספר לי את פיילוס הבתים. Omer Bazal Losh Im Rabbi Sechem HaKadosh Im Achir Istalkus Chaim V'Kayam Mazirim K'Karech V'Shamayim Im Keim Ech Kedushosam Nalo Be'ez Chayusam Marti Loi Adarab V'Chinela Mimalosai HaMaimer From Chazal Gedolim Tzadikim B'Mesosam Yoyser Mi V'Bachayayim. He said that he told his friend, my friend, you have it wrong. Adarab. His friend said to him after this miracle happened in the Yezhin, he said, "Wow, if I wish I knew your Rebbe when he was alive, because if this is the way he is now, Kolshker when he was alive." But Rabbi Yaakov Kadana says to him, "Faket, Chazal say that Gedolim Tzadikim B'Misosam Yoysim B'Bachayim." So Faket. So now it's even a stronger koyach. There's two stories that Rabbi Grona told recently. Terrific stories. One, and both stories that he heard from people. One is a Yid that comes here once a year, a Shnor from Eretz Yisrael. That's what he does for a living. So he said that he used to go to the Rebbe when he used to come, and everyone gave him $1 and a beautiful brocha. First time he came to America was after Gimel Tammuz, and he felt very bad. He can't see the Rebbe anymore. He can't get a brocha. He always get a beautiful smile and a beautiful brocha. So he decided to go to the Tzina Kodesh. He went to the Tzina and he asked the Rebbe, "Give me a sign. I'd love to get $1 before I go back." And that was next day. He had a flight, but before he went back, he went to Shachris. Nope, he's having Shachris. He's going to make a couple more dollars. He went around the shul to collect. His last day, he's trying to make a little more. So whoever gave him, he said, "Can you give me another $1?" You know, some of these. So one of the people said, "Okay, I'll give you another $1." So he pulls out from his wallet and he takes out $1 and there's writing on it. So the Schnorrer says, "What's this?" He says, "It's your lucky day. This morning I found it in my kitchen and I asked my wife, and my wife said she went shopping yesterday and it said $1. He said, $1. The guy couldn't believe it. He told him he just went to Daven by the Tzina Kodesh, and he asked the Rebbe for a sign. $1. He got $1. Another story, Rabbi Grona said that someone. Yeah. The Rabbi Grona said. Yeah. I don't have chizyonis. People don't come to me in a dream. I mean, to tell me special messages. You have to sleep enough for that. Another story. Yeah, we had him here, Tu B'Shvat, right? He didn't remember. A lot of years. Probably they never told him a lot of times then. The other story he said was that someone told him that he also used to go many times to get brachas from the Rebbe, and after Gimel Tammuz, his wife said to go to Tzina Kodesh. He said, "Okay, but I'm looking for Eitzah. I want to get $1 for $1. $1. He said, "Okay, but I want to look for Eitzah. I want to get $1. $1. He said, "Okay, but I want to look for Eitzah. I want to get $1. $1. He said, "Okay, but I want to look for Eitzah. I want to get $1. $1. Anyway, he went to the oil, and he asked the Rebbe for something. What should be his next step in Avodas Hashem? That was his question. What should he do? So he came home and he was playing Lego with his son. That was like, some pieces fell out the window. He went out in the yard. He lives in Borough Park, like there's some big houses there, and he sees a page like the Shabbat of a Tanya floating around, the front page of a Tanya. What is this? No, Shkocha Protestant, maybe Shtickle Sheamus. That night he went to there was a shir because he joined the Erev shir. He went to the Maggid Shir and he said that he found this daf. He said the funny thing is I went to the Tzion that day. What? You asked the Rebbe for Hadroch. What should be your next step? You come home, you find a Shar Blat Tanya. I think that Rebbe's telling you that you should start learning Tanya Kaddish. There was 2 stories that were published today in a website from Rabbi Groner. He said that in the early years, the Rebbe asked that after 3 years he was on the job, the Rebbe asked they should make a box with index cards. All the letters that he got throughout the years, the Rebbe gave them like pieces of things, names. And they should make a box with index cards. Alphabetical, with all the names of everyone that asked him for brachas. And for a while he didn't understand. It was a big job. Sit there and make the whole box of cards. And the Rebbe kept it on his desk many years. Nicht verstanden. Then there was once at a Farbrengen that the Rebbe told a story. The Rebbe said that Friedrich Rebbe told him that he was once sitting with his father, the Rebbe Rashab, and the Rebbe Rashab was all of a sudden there was a pile of papers, and he was looking through, and he started speaking to himself. And the Rebbe Rashab noticed that the Friedrich Rebbe was looking at him what's going on? So he said, from time to time I look at letters that Chassidim sent me, because I'm looking for their names and their mother's names. And here there's a group of Chassidim that Zokik Larachem Eshamayim. So I davened for them. So the Friedrich Rebbe said that the Chassidim don't even realize. They didn't even write a letter. They didn't even know. But the Ruach Kocher, he saw that they need the Rachem Eshamayim. So maybe he was Mischal for them. This is the pshat that Rabbi Groner said. Groner said at that time he realized why the Rebbe wanted to have an index box with names, with all these names alphabetically. What's supposed to make them all? The Rebbe wanted to have it on his desk. Well, you tell him Yikru Bandiana, Poshet, to be able to daven for these Yidden that already spoke to him, not when they're going to write a letter, but Stam Azoif, Aguta Mitzvah. But L'chaim. Bottom line is that we're standing here between the weeks of Shlach and Koirach, which is the time of Koirach. The time of Koirach is the Rabboni Shalom is my Rebbe, and the time of the Meraglim is Yasuet Gevoya Chamishim Amma Dibatoiv. But we don't need a leader like Moshe Rabbeinu. We can't learn from Moshe Rabbeinu. He's too much of a tzaddik. And we have to know that it's not emes, and just like by Moshe Rabbeinu it's lo yazav tzei marisoy, that the old tzaddikim is lo yazav, and like the Tshuva Nachsam Sofer, that the best way for the hand to get healed is for the roish to be mispal for the hand. So the Mela, that's why we're going tonight to the Tzina Kodesh to Mishtatech by the Rebbe, and there's no question that the Malahalan Oim and the Mishamash Hakan, just like the Zohar that this is one of the pieces that I brought to say by Kivrei Tzadikim, that Faket says, that the Zohar says, how can we go to Kivrei Tzadikim since the Doire Shal HaMesim? It's a Faket, that the Mesim is the Goyim is Yisrael, Faket. Shekvar Mesu v'zimra ochra v'lo yashtu. Shekvar Mesu v'ashtu inu chayim. Faket. V'shav their life that Mesiris Nefesh for the Eibishter. Now they're alive. Now the Dafka alive. And the Zohar goes on to say that Fakir, that Taninon, Sadikai, Afagab, Dispater, Mayalma, Lo Yistalet, Lo Yisabed, Mikula Alman, the Bachula Alman, the Ishtaka, Yater, Michayai. And the Medai Tanya, that even in this Olam, that the Tzaddik is Yater, Michayai. Elamai, just like in the story with the Menaglim, Mataf Nishmach Getos with the Menaglim. Memela, when Mishtatech, tonight, the Mitzvah Hashem, and David Shalhofen, the talk is 26 years since Gimel Tammuz. This Figula should bring out unbelievable koyach in every one of us, that we should be shlach l'chol, l'daitcha, we should be mala the shlichus of our neshama, and we should be mala the shlichus of this generation. And the Rebbe saw that the shlichus of this generation is that we should bring Mashiach to Kenu, so we should be mala our shlichus, our gula protis, and we should be mala the shlichus of this generation, Mavias Mashiach to Kenu. Chaim l'chaim.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I'm brother.
L'chaim, can I give out l'chaim? I'll take a...
Rabbi, you're driving. You're driving, Rabbi.
Okay. Yes, okay. Shmuel, if you start Shamil's Niggin? Okay. Good. We have a minion. So let's get there.
Everybody should write the file now. But otherwise, it's just going in and out. So, don't take those either. Going in and out.